Well, we have some more news coming in. Standing at the site of an Iranian missile attack that killed 9 people in Bet Shemesh, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that the ongoing US-Israeli campaign against Iran aims to both remove existential threats and allow the Iranian people to effect regime change. In fact, he's also added that the time was approaching for them to do so.
This is the third day of the Operation Roaring Lion, the operation the Israeli army and the state of Israel set out to, with our great friends, the United States of America and President Trump, to thwart existential threats to Israel and great threats to America and the entire world.
Well, shifting our focus now, Asim Munir is clearly caught between a rock and a hard place. An all-out war with Afghanistan is underway on its western border, even as the US backed Pakistan's right to defend itself against Taliban's attacks. Anti-American sentiments have peaked. Violent clashes have gripped the country after the killing of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. On Sunday, thousands of people took to the streets in municipal cities of multiple cities of Pakistan, including Karachi, Lahore, Peshawar and Islamabad, to protest against US and Israel. At least 25 people have been killed so far as demonstrators clashed with the police. As per reports, Western diplomatic missions in the country have stepped up security protocols and restricted staff movement. Let's break it down for you. Violence erupted in Karachi when security guards at the US consulate opened fire on protesters who breached the compound's outer wall following news of Khamenei's death. At least 10 protesters were killed and 34 others were wounded amid considerable uproar over alleged high-handedness by the police. The Sindh government has now instituted a high-level inquiry into this incident. However, some locals are not satisfied and they're now demanding an FIR against those who opened fire on the protesters.
An FIR should be lodged against the officials of state institutions for the firing carried out by state thugs and terrorists in Karachi today. This is our most important demand. Additionally, our youth who were arrested today, on March 1st, should be released immediately.
But this is not at all. The situation has worsened in the Skardu city of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, where demonstrators burned down the office of the UN Military Observer Group. They also reportedly set on fire a police station there and damaged a school. At least 13 people were killed in clashes with the police. Authorities have now deployed troops and imposed a 3-day curfew in Gilgit and Skardu. Lahore, which is the capital of Pakistan's province, also witnessed chaotic scenes with protesters setting fire to the entrance of the US consulate. Subsequently, the police fired tear gas at the protesters. Some of the demonstrators vented out their anger at the Pakistani government for nominating Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Donald Trump, whom you nominated for the Nobel Prize, do such people deserve the Nobel Prize? Who killed the most noble and dignified character in the world and attack his residence? If this is the case, then we should express disgust toward such a Nobel Prize.
Protests also raged in PTI-ruled Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, with demonstrators being stopped from heading toward the US consulate in Peshawar. Tear gas and bait and charge was used against them. Remember, this comes amid Pakistan walking a tight rope on the Iran crisis. To begin with, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has expressed solidarity with Saudi Arabia and other West Asian countries over Iran's attacks. But remember, at the same time, he's also extended condolences over Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's killing. Although he stressed that the heads of state should not be targeted, Shehbaz Sharif refrained from naming the United States in this matter. The internal unrest has raised some vital questions. Has Donald Trump's unstinted support for Munir and Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif resulted in a loss of face for them back home? Can they potentially juggle the fallout of the Iran war and growing dissatisfaction at home? Islamabad's regional prestige is on the line. Russia and China have both condemned American and Israel's actions against Iran. Russian President Vladimir Putin called Khamenei's killing an assassination, while China has come out with a strong statement. However, France, Britain and Germany have all presented a united front with the United States. Russian President Vladimir Putin strongly denounced the killing of Iran's supreme leader Khamenei, labeling the U.S.-Israeli operation as a violation of international law and calling it an assassination. China says their Foreign Minister Wang Yi spoke on phone with the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Sunday, with both condemning the U.S. and Israel. Remember, there has been a marked shift in China's response to the escalating conflict in West Asia. After initial strikes, China called for the diplomatic route and restraint. But following Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's death, China has termed the American and Israeli actions as brazen aggression. The tone has become sharp and confrontational.
The U.S.-Israel military strikes against Iran, which have no authorization of the UN Security Council, violates international law. China is deeply concerned that the spillover of the fighting has affected other countries in the region. China believes that the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Gulf countries should also be fully respected. We urge parties to stop the military operations and prevent further spread of the fighting.
Elsewhere, Britain, France and Germany have all said that they are prepared to work with the United States. A joint statement was released from the three countries as well. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, the French President Emmanuel Macron and the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz all said that they are appalled by Iran's strikes on their allies. However, Starmer specifically said that the UK will not join the strikes.
The United States has requested permission to use British bases for that specific and limited defensive purpose. We have taken the decision to accept this request to prevent Iran firing missiles across the region, killing innocent civilians, putting British lives at risk, and hitting countries that have not been involved. The basis of our decision is the collective self-defence of long-standing friends and allies and protecting British lives. That is in accordance with international law, and we are publishing a summary of our legal advice. We are not joining these strikes, but we will continue with our defensive actions in the region.